Hey guys, FilthyRobot here, doing another state of the channel. This time it's September of 2018. I have kept my promise. My promise was not to be doing monthly state of the channels. And here we are. This is only the second of the year, the last one being done all the way back in January. So a lot to talk about, which is kind of nice. That's part of why I do these infrequently, is that I like to have things I want to discuss with you guys and talk to you about. This is one of the informal ways I can do that and reach the bulk of my viewers and chat about what I've done, where I'm planning on going, what I'm thinking about, things that are on my mind. So that's going to be what this is. I expect it will be a little bit rambly as I touch the topics I want to touch and take the time to think through them out loud on camera, and so be it. Just be warned ahead of time. So a quick recap of this year thus far. Doing the variety streamer thing, right? Played a fair number of games this year, a fair number of interesting games. The ones that had any staying power on the channel this year seem to have been, I'm just going to read a list. So in no particular order, Pillars of Eternity 2, had a lot of fun with that. Dark Souls, MTG Arena, which I'm still playing now, and I've been probably playing for, I think it's about 2 or 3 months at the point I'm releasing this video, and don't have any plans of stopping in the near future. Having a blast with that game. Frostpunk was fun, although short-lived. Stellaris was a pretty nice updates to the Stellaris, made that game really fun. Been enjoying that. Battletech was a good playthrough. Slay the Spire kept me going for a couple hundred hours, which was great. Into the Breach was a fun diversion. Didn't last that long, but was a fun game. Quick to learn, quick to master, quick to finish with. Darkest Dungeon dropped with Color of Madness. That was a fun expansion. Endless Mode kept me going for a couple weeks. That was fun. Then a little bit of Civ 5 this year, not so much. Backed off that pretty hard. Occasionally got sucked back into a week or two of multiplayer across the course of this year so far. Civ 6 checked out their expansion, but still the game doesn't hit the spot for me, missing the multiplayer challenges that I wanted in the single player. I've just never been a single player Civ guy. Even with Civ 5, it just really isn't what floats my boat for that game. And then doing a lot of Dungeons and Dragons content. We've had a weekly game going for, I think, pretty much the entirety of this year. I can't remember exactly now how many sessions we've done, but that's been going well. Been enjoying that immensely. Some upcoming games for the channel. It's sometimes hard to tell because game releases move around a little bit, and I'm never sure how much I'm going to enjoy a game till I actually get my hands on it. So a lot of times I might have keys lined up or pre-release copies lined up, and sometimes I'll get the game and be like, this really isn't for me, or sometimes I'll get the game and be like, this is amazing, but my channel doesn't seem to enjoy it as much as I do, so the viewership numbers are no good, so I don't tend to stay on it for very long or something like that. But on my plate right now, for the ones that I will at least be attempting to spend some time with, are MTG Arena continues with another expand coming out, I think, soon, as the next set drops for, what is it, Ravnica, I think is the set for that. Battle Brothers has announced an expand that should be coming out in the not too distant future, and that game was amazing. And the expand looks to be really good so far from the spoilers for that so far. Battlefleet Gothic is coming out with a sequel, so Battlefleet Gothic 2 is going to be coming out, and that game was super fun. I think that's now currently slated for January of 2019, so maybe that doesn't count as this year, but you get the idea. And then Battletech's got an expand coming. Battletech was super fun. Really great mech warrior style game. I don't know if I can call it mech warrior because it's Battletech and they might be separate franchise, but you get the idea. Giant fighting robot game. That was fun. And then Crowfall. I keep hoping. I keep saying it. I think every state of the channel video I've mentioned Crowfall as a game I'm looking forward to and excited about. And maybe one day it will release. So that's kind of exciting too. So that's kind of the gaming content I've done and where I'm looking to go in the not too distant future. On my mind. Just in general, really been enjoying the multiplayer aspect of Magic Gathering Arena. I've been having fun again, being challenged by other human beings as opposed to playing against a story or playing against a set of bots or something like that. It's really, really enjoyable for me, the multiplayer experience. I've always been a multiplayer gamer, and multiplayer enjoyed the multiplayer content the most, and I've had a lot of good single-player games in the last year or two, much more single-player than I've ever played in my life before. But I'm glad to be seeing some multiplayer stuff on my coming up on the horizon because I really do enjoy that experience the most. I've been fairly Twitch-focused this year. Last year, I tried my hand at being a little bit more YouTube-oriented, tried producing some Let's Plays for YouTube that weren't live streamed first, did a lot of collaborative stuff, recording offline, And a lot of that has kind of been cut back again. I'm back up to 5 days a week streaming instead of 4. Changed the hours slightly, so I'm doing closer to 8 or 9 hours a day as opposed to 7 or 8, which means less time for other sorts of offline stuff. The only pure YouTube series I'm doing right now that isn't first streamed and isn't a guide video with like these kind of sporadic one-off style things is the D&D. D&D's been going pretty much all year, and that's a 4-hour recording once a week. And that's been going well, and I enjoy that, and that's been released to YouTube. But in part, I think it's because of the way those things work. I don't think an RPG does very well on a live streaming platform. It's just hard to keep track of. If you miss a session, if you miss a couple hours one day, then the next session doesn't have as much sense anymore. So anyways, been a little bit more Twitch oriented compared to YouTube oriented this year, and seems to be going okay with that. Well, don't know if that will always be that way. Perhaps my channel will someday be more interested in producing less and higher edited content as opposed to essentially exporting a lot of my streams to YouTube. We'll see. I mean, my YouTube channel started as a request for my Twitch viewers being like, hey, I missed your stream. Could you upload that somewhere so I could catch it? And that's where that started. I mean, and it's been pretty true to that. It's a different approach, but it's the approach that has worked for me thus far. So we'll see. Wanted to just touch on collaborations. Had some collaborations this year. I've been collaborating with Joe and Ribs with the D&D, Dolphin Chemist with the D&D, Adam from Ulta F4 Gaming with the D&D. I don't think there's been too many. I reached out to some Magic players when I just started playing Arena, and did a little collaboration with Legend from the MTG Arena and MTG scene. And happy to do more of those. I get asked a lot, why, will you be doing more collaborations? Will you collaborate with this person? It's a bit weird in the world of this business world for that. As a medium-sized streamer, whatever that means, it's easy to reach out to channels that are smaller than me, but sometimes difficult to justify doing so. Like, not just from like a raw view count, but it's more along the lines of, if the game isn't multiplayer, it's often difficult to collaborate long-term on it anyways, because it's just kind of an awkward structure to do. It often involves one person not doing a whole lot of anything. And at some point, you kind of run the course of a collaboration on that. And sometimes there just doesn't seem to be a collaboration there. Like, I've had some channels reach out to me and be like, hey, we'd really like to do something with you, but they don't have an idea coming into it. And I think what they mean is they'd like to play a game with me, but that doesn't seem to be a reason to collaborate in of itself. So sometimes there's some of that. And then the other way is also a little bit tricky. The other way is, as a smaller channel reaching out to a larger channel, there can often be that issue of, well, what does the larger channel have to benefit from that? Why would they want to collaborate from a kind of just basic business sense of that? So I don't know. I'm certainly open to the idea. I've had some fun collaborations in the past, and some of them have been really good. I think the ones I did with the Roomba were a really good set of collaborations, where I, as a smaller channel working with a larger channel, he was doing it in the context of recording essentially guide videos or how-tos on how to learn EU4, and could do that in such a way that my time with him was useful because I was an involved, interactive, learning audience that he can basically use to then focus on teaching a game to someone. That was kind of a useful thing, I think, overall. And the views suggested that it was better views for him than on some of his other series of a similar type, because it was that collaborative element to it. And that's the type of thing that's really nice to be able to talk to when you're looking to collaborate with a channel of your size or larger, is to be like, here's how it's going to benefit us both. And that's sometimes a little awkward when you as a smaller channel reach out, or if a smaller channel reaches out to your channel and your channel is larger, which is they don't have a way that it benefits you both. And you're just kind of like, well, I mean, I guess, yeah, I'd like to work with you, I guess, but what does that actually mean, and how are we actually going to capitalize on that? So some of that. Want to talk a little bit about numbers. I know I occasionally get the comment on YouTube that stop producing so many videos. I think this is a continuation of the comments I've made about the Twitch focus versus the YouTube focus. Most of my YouTube content is uploaded streams, often basically organized a little bit better than they might be if you're just trying to check a Twitch spot or something like that. So it's broken down by game, and it's broken down by match, and it's broken down by some sort of sensical organization, and that's good. But it's not for everybody. So I understand that some people really don't enjoy that type of setup for a YouTube channel. They want to come see edited, polished videos, and that's just really not what I do in this channel. I don't have the time to both be a full-time streamer and produce that type of content. There's just no way. I mean, I'm streaming about basically 45 to 50 hours a week on top of managing a channel and keeping on top of my life. So there's just no way I'm also doing something like producing extensive edited videos. We'll see. Maybe some of that will be able to be segued into if I find volunteers and people wanting to collaborate in that type of way to do that. I've had some offers. One of my long-term subscribers and mods in the channel has started taking up some video editing, and we're starting to play with that a little bit on channel, although it's sometimes awkward to coordinate me recording a video and him doing editing and transferring the files around. And also had some viewers reach out who are editors or do some sort of video editing in their works and their lives, and have reached out to offer some assistance. But again, it's a little bit tricky to coordinate that on a time frame that I want to work with, and also with the video transfer and whatnot. So we'll see. We'll see how that works out. It's also kind of hard to do. It's very time intensive compared to content output for that. So anyways, things to think about for that. What else? So some stuff in the real world that's happened. So I've moved. You guys might have noticed there's a new setup. I've set up a green screen. I've got a new spot. We moved to a new apartment. I've got a dedicated room. I had a dedicated room streaming before, but it was basically a second bedroom that we use for my streaming room. This is basically a den. And the distinction apparently in real estate between a den and a bedroom is the lack of windows. So this room is great. So this room has no windows, and I can light it as I want, so I can get nice consistent lighting and set up a green screen in it. It's much less likely to be bothered by things like, my apartment complex mowing the lawn, because I can't hear it from this room. The neighbors are less audible. It's been a really nice upgrade for me and my quality of life, and I finally got the room to put things where I want, so I can get the mic where I want it. So you guys may have noticed my audio has been better than in past years, because I've got the situation set up in a way that I can actually capitalize on that. Been really, really pleased with the new streaming location for that. So that's been pretty cool. So we moved from outside Chicago to Oshkosh, Wisconsin. That's where we're at now, my wife and I. I've been totally blown away by this location. I wasn't expecting much of anything. Didn't have a lot of expectations going in. My only experiences with Wisconsin had been Milwaukee, which I like. Milwaukee's great for like food and booze, and you go up there and you get good food and good drinks, and it's a drinking culture, and people are wanting to go out and have fun, and that's a great place. Came up to Oshkosh with not too many expectations one way or the other. People here have been super nice, gone out of their way to be helpful, inviting, and welcoming. Seems to be a pretty nice beer and drink culture here as well. Struggling a bit to find great restaurants, but can't have it all, I suppose. So I've been pretty pleased with the move and the location, and it's been really good for the quality of the stream and production, which I'm quite pleased with. So that's been good. What else? We made it out to the Pacific Northwest, my wife and I, this year. We were out in Portland and Oregon. I just did the same thing again, didn't I? All right, I'm trying to say we made it to Seattle and Portland. Those are the cities. And we made it to Washington and Oregon as the states, is what I'm trying to say with that. That was a lot of fun. Very beautiful area. Did some hiking out there, and got to see a couple people, meet some people in person. Did a little get together at a bar style thing, and it was really good. It was a really nice trip as a whole. Nice to be out that way of the country. Hadn't been that way before at all, and enjoyed that immensely. So my wife graduated finally from graduate school with her PhD. She started work in late August, and is now no longer a grad student, and now a member of the workforce, and that's been an interesting adjustment. It's she's no longer in the house pretty much ever. So it's just me here talking to myself. That's been something that's been a slight change for me, I guess, too, is that as the years passes, I'm doing this now almost 5 years. Almost doing this for full time, almost 5 years now. And the way that I have thought about myself as a content creator and a streamer and a YouTuber, and how I define myself, I guess, has changed, is what I'm trying to say. So for a while, when I had left graduate school and was streaming full time, I was still a graduate student in the sense that's what I was telling people if they asked me, because it was a bit awkward to explain and a bit challenging to explain. And now I'm kind of reveling in it now. Now that I've been doing it long enough that it feels like maybe I can survive doing this. Hopefully I can survive doing this. That this is probably something that's sustainable long term. That's pretty cool, and feeling a lot more comfortable talking with people about it. And because I'm in Wisconsin, and again, I grew up in the Northeast. In the Northeast, people are much more reserved about the type of questions they ask you and the interactions they expect from you. Up here, like, I sit down at a bar. This actually happened the other night. Went down and sit down at a bar to get a beer at like some, just evening the other night. And this couple turns to me, sitting next to me at the bar, who I had no intention of interacting with whatsoever, turns, starts chatting me up and asking me about my life and my job and where I work and all this shit. And they were very nice. Had a great conversation with them. Wasn't expecting to have a conversation at all, but like it comes up more is what I'm getting at as I am in this area. I get asked the question a lot. What do you do? Like the building manager at my apartment knows I'm a streamer and regularly engages and asks me about it as just part of seeing them in the hall style thing. It's kind of a weird interaction, but it's nice. It's nice. People are very friendly up here, and I'm getting to own that a little bit more and having some strange and often interesting conversations based on that. It's still a kind of novel thing to do, and there's definitely that noticeable impact when I'm talking about it with people. What else? Lost climbing, unfortunately. That was the biggest bummer of Oshkosh so far. There is okay outdoor climbing in not unreasonable travel times, but as the type of climbing I was enjoying doing was often gym climbing, where I'd be going to a climbing gym 2 or 3 times a week, and that's just no longer available to me. There isn't anything close enough to do without quite a travel. I'm basically having to travel if I want to travel to do climbing in a gym. It's basically Milwaukee, which is nuts. It's way too far to be traveling 3 or 4 times a week or 2 or 3 times a week. So I'm having to find other sources of fitness, which sucks because I've been doing rock climbing for 7 or 8 years now and really, really like that. It's one of my favorite types of exercise to do that both keeps me interested in doing it. I have fun doing it, and it doesn't feel like, I'm just forcing myself to work out for the sake of health, which I am doing in some sense with that, but at the same time, really, really enjoyed it. So that's been kind of one of the bummers of moving up here. Still experimenting, joined a gym, some things like that, but I'm still experimenting with what I'm going to be doing for a sustainable, interesting routine. And on that note, I haven't experienced the winters here yet either. So I am now three hours further north than I was before. We're still in southern Wisconsin, apparently, but it is a little cooler up here, noticeably a little bit cooler up here, and I haven't yet started the winter. This is still September. Maybe the next update will just be me on an iceberg somewhere complaining about the winter. We'll see. What else? Got some doing some real life MTG drafts. That's been kind of fun. One of the side effects of getting into MTG Arena, Magic the Gathering Arena, is I've been really enjoying the game and enjoying drafting. And there's like a local gaming store, like a 5-minute walk from me, 10-minute walk maybe, that I walk up to once a week at the moment, and I'm drafting real life Magic, which I haven't done since I was a kid. I think the last time I played before getting involved with this particular game was when I was 13 or 14, 12 or 13, something like that. So that's been kind of fun getting back into that a little bit. I'm not real big on anything except drafting at the moment. I don't think I'm interested enough to do constructed, but maybe someday that would be something I would care about doing in person. But for the moment, I'm just enjoying the drafting process so much. I really like that you all start on an even playing field mostly, and then you are constructing a deck from cards that you're all communally passing around and choosing from, and then building a deck out of that and then playing against each other. I really like that. That's a nice form of making a experience repeatable but different, with degrees of skill but also some chance, with a lot of fun involved in the whole process. So that's been really, really cool. That's been super fun. Getting close to concluding this, just a couple other things to talk about. Wanted to shout out to all of my Patreon supporters, patrons is really the word I'm looking for. All the patrons who are quietly, without regular reward or even regular shout outs, I've been doing this for months and months now. I massively appreciate that. That really helps and allows me to keep doing what I'm doing. I know it's kind of an unsung hero kind of thing where aren't a lot of times you get noticed or appreciated. And I just want to make it clear that I notice and appreciate, even if it's not something that's coming out all the time. A couple other things. Talk about, Twitch has introduced a new system that's kind of a nice way. So I get sometimes the question in the channel, hey, Filthy, I really want to support you, but I'm a poor college student or poor whatever, or want to support you but don't want to support you financially, or whatever it happens to be. I do want to address those. Those are fairly easily addressed. The best ways to support me still are Patreon. That's still the #1 best way, with Twitch subscriptions probably being second, and Twitch subscriptions with Twitch Prime being as prevalent as it is a pretty nice way if you to have a service that you're probably already paying for, and to also then be able to support a streamer you care about without having to pay in addition to that. That's a pretty great option. There is another option too. So Twitch has introduced something recently. It's in beta right now. It's called a bounty system, and basically it allows streamers to take it's a way of allowing streamers to be sponsored by people producing content. So for example, it's a really awkward way of saying that, for game developers to sponsor streams for their game. And it's really nice for me because you're basically opting into types of games that you're going to play already. And I've had sponsored streams for games that I was playing pre-sponsor, and those are great because that essentially means that it's money for me keeping my stuff going while simultaneously producing the same content I was going to be producing anyways, and that's pretty damn awesome. And on the other side, it's promoting a good game, so they're getting their advertising money, and then they're putting this into having their game be promoted, and I'm promoting a game that I like and am enjoying. So those are pretty cool. And if you see your favorite streamers doing sponsored streams, all you have to do as a viewer is be in the channel, and that helps them with their bottom line of being able to continue to produce content and at the same time actually get to make some money doing it. And there you go. It's a nice way to do that. So next time you see a little hashtag sponsored on somebody's stream and you're watching it and you go, man, I don't know if this game is really a game I'm interested in. I was watching the streamer for something else. Stick around, check it out. Could be fun, and at the very least, you're supporting a streamer that you watch and whose content you enjoy. All right. Other than that, not too much going on. Life is good. Enjoying the new location, enjoying the new setup, enjoying the freedom of the different games, enjoying being a variety streamer, and a lot of things I'm looking forward to in the not too distant future in terms of games. So as always, guys, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoy it and want to support me, hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Come check me out on Twitch. It's FilthyRobot on Twitch and YouTube. Or follow me on one of the social medias, preferably Twitter. That's the one I actually use from time to time. Join my Discord. All the millions of ways that we are now represented online. Feel free to add those. I promise not to spam you. And maybe you'll get some good content out of it. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.